With so many different cards and decks in Clash Royale, there are a seemingly infinite number of strategies. So here are 12 things in Clash Royale that you just might be doing wrong. Before we get into the video, I'm giving away this emote to 5 lucky viewers. To enter into the drawing to win, simply subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, and then comment on the video. It doesn't matter what your comment says, it can be anything, and I will pick 5 random winners on October 11th. If you're a winner, I'll reply to your comment on that day and ask for your Instagram, where I'll reach out with the reward link so you can claim your emote. The first mistake I've seen way too many times is when players place their Valkyrie right in the middle of a group of barbarians. While this may seem like a good play at first, it's actually better to just place the Valkyrie a bit to the side so that it can be ready to swing before coming into contact with the barbarians. If you place it in the middle of them, the Valkyrie will end up taking some damage before she's even ready, and she'll actually end up going down before all the barbarians are dead, whereas placing it to the side allows the Valkyrie to kill all the barbarians and still have a bit of health to spare. Then you could even place a giant or something like that in front of it to go ahead and get a counter push going. So next time you're using the Valkyrie, keep this tip in mind. The next mistake is ignoring the Golden Knight. For whatever reason, a lot of people online seem to not like the Golden Knight very much, but I think he's a very underrated champion that can get so much value, especially when used alongside the Tornado. For those who don't know, the Golden Knight will stop his chain dash after coming into contact with an arena tower. Because of this, we can abuse the Tornado by pulling everything close to the tower and activating the Golden Knight ability at the same time. As you can see, the Golden Knight will dash onto everything and end up connecting to the tower as well. This can be even stronger when combined with a bigger push, so I would definitely recommend giving this combo a try, as at the very least I can guarantee you'll have fun with it. Next we have using the Elixir Golem. The Elixir Golem is pretty much only used in that annoying battle healer deck that we all face from time to time. When you do face it and inevitably get 3-starred by this deck in 30 seconds at one point or another, it can be tempting to try out the deck for yourself, but trust me, you won't get the same results. Now before you all go and comment skill issue, this deck can be good in some situations, but that's the problem, is that the deck is way too situational. What that means is that it's very hit or miss, and you'll pretty much either get a crazy 3-star win or you'll get absolutely destroyed, and unfortunately I find that you'll get absolutely destroyed more often, as most players know how to deal with this deck pretty well. Not only that, but Elixir Golem players don't have the best track record as far as win rate goes nowadays, so while you might get lucky from time to time and crush someone, your other games will be awful. Next we have not lining up your Magic Archer shots. As we all know, the Magic Archer's arrow will pierce infinitely until it ultimately dissipates at a set range from the archer. Because of this, it's a good idea to use your Magic Archer whenever something is coming towards the bridge on the opponent's side. By the time that troop gets to your Magic Archer, you will likely get 3 or 4 shots in on the opponent's tower depending on the speed of the troop in question, while damaging the troop as well. The Magic Archer does more damage than you think, so if you're able to pull this off multiple times throughout the match, you can completely take out a tower with just this chip damage alone. As with many other strategies, pairing him with the Tornado will make this even easier, so if you haven't given the Magic Archer a try yet, go ahead and throw him in your deck and try this out the next time you play. The next mistake is not joining the channel. Yes, that's right, I just launched 3 tiers of channel memberships for any of you who want to support what I do here on the channel. If you click the join button below this video next to the subscribe button, it will bring up an explanation video that will talk more about the exclusive perks that you can unlock for as little as $2.99 a month. That money goes to support the channel and help me release videos like this more often. Please consider at least taking a look at these to see what's available, as you can always cancel later if you don't find it to be worth it. The next mistake I see all the time is people wasting the champion abilities. For those of you who don't know, if you use a champion's ability and the champion dies before the ability actually activates, since there's a slight delay, the game will sometimes not refund your elixir spent on the ability. This is super annoying since the game is pretty much just taking away your elixirs, so to counteract this, you should pay close attention to your champion's health before using any abilities. It's worth noting that the Little Prince's ability seems to pretty much always give you a refund, but maybe that's just since it costs 3 elixir, which is the most expensive price for an ability in the entire game. Either way, pay attention to that health bar before you click on the ability next time. The next mistake is dismissing the Lumberjack. The Lumberjack has always been a strong card, as it has comparable health and DPS to a mini P.E.K.K.A, but runs faster and drops a rage spell upon death. A couple years back though, Supercell made this card go from good to amazing when they added damage to the rage spell, which in turn affected the Lumberjack's rage as well. The Lumberjack is now one of the most versatile cards in the game, since it can kill tanks like the Giant and then turn around and demolish a skeleton army with its death rage spell. It's worth mentioning that the rage spell also damages air cards, so the Lumberjack can easily take out a swarm of bats or low health minions in your push, saving you an extra spell and allowing you to get tons of damage in many situations. The next mistake is using the Elixir Collector. The Elixir Collector has had its ups and downs over the years since it was first released alongside the game 8 years ago. That being said, whenever the card is strong, it seems to be too strong and everyone uses it, which inevitably leads to it getting nerfed again. This has happened multiple times now, including semi-recently when everyone started using the Elixir Collector again earlier this year, but it then got nerfed like it always does, and now I really just would recommend using it. Instead, I'd recommend just putting 1 or 2 cards in your deck that only cost 1 or 2 elixir so that you can cycle quickly and get a leg up against your opponent. Next, we have Dismissing the Electro Dragon. Now, I included this one because I myself have slept on this card over the years until just recently. The Electro Dragon can pair excellently with the Tornado to chain onto the opponent's tower, or chain onto an Inferno Tower, Inferno Dragon, or Sparky to reset it and support your push. Not only that, but the Electro Dragon was just announced to be getting an evolution in the next season in only a couple of days, and the evolution is one of the most broken we've seen yet. For those who don't know, the evolved Electro Dragon will chain infinitely instead of to only 3 targets, allowing you to completely delete skeleton armies or just form long chains across the entire arena. This also fixes that frustrating issue where your opponent can play skeletons or minions since they can protect their Inferno or Sparky from the Electro Dragon, since the evolved Electro Dragon will chain onto it anyway. So especially now, I would recommend keeping an open mind and maybe giving the Electro Drag a try. The next mistake is using the Furnace. The Furnace used to be a fairly versatile card before the Fire Spirit rework that was done a few years back. For those who are newer to the game, the Fire Spirit used to contain 3 weaker Fire Spirits for 1 elixir instead of the 1 spirit we have today. As a result, the Furnace would also spawn Fire Spirits in waves of 3, which was devastating to the opponent's tower if left unanswered, and also difficult to defend as easily. Nowadays, if you time it right, you can actually cancel out 3 entire waves from the Furnace with a simple Ice or Electro Spirit. As you can see on screen now, to do this, you want to have your Spirit tank the first wave and then jump onto the Furnace and the second Fire Spirit. This ends up denying the third wave as well by damaging the Furnace and causing it to go down faster. This is just one good example, but the point stands, the Furnace isn't very good since the change. Next, we have Sleeping on the Tombstone. Now, I will admit, this tip is slightly influenced by nostalgia because I've always loved using the Tombstone since day one, since it's a hard counter to cards like the Prince, but it's also versatile enough to effectively defend a Giant, Hog Rider, or similar with the possible help of a cheap spell. The Tombstone is a card that has gone through a couple of balance changes of its own over the years, but the way it currently stands, the Tombstone will spawn multiple skeletons per wave instead of just 1 like it used to, allowing it to perform even better than it did before. This building is one that doesn't get the attention it deserves in my opinion, so definitely give it a fair try if you haven't messed around with it in a while. The next mistake is only using the Miner as a tank. While the Miner can be a good option to tank for a Goblin army or similar, many people don't realize that the Miner is actually a really good support card for your win condition as well. For example, many Lava Hound players will wait until a Musketeer, Wizard, or whatever the opponent is using to counter their Hound locks onto the Hound, and then they'll use their Miner to actually zip right to that troop and take it out. Then the Miner can move to the tower and do some damage, and then tank for the Lava Pups when the Hound bursts. This is probably the best use case for the Miner since it is used as both a damage dealer and a tank to its full potential, but the same principle can be applied to other tanks and win conditions as well, so try to think outside the box more next time you use the Miner. And if you enjoyed that video, subscribe to the channel and click that join button to become a member today.